how's it going, everybody? It's been a long week, tiring week, and let's see, a lot of people have been talking about Avengers this week, and I think I made my thoughts apparent on it pretty clear last week. It's a good movie. Black Panther saw like a resurgence as well. I want to say people did a double feature. They did the Black Panther, then they did Avengers, and I'm a week removed from it, so I might as well like give it like a fresh, like this will be the spoiler-free one. I've been checking the reviews, and I'll get into that part next about my thoughts on reviews. But anyway, Avengers had a lot of good reviews, and I really got the sense that everyone appreciated that they took things seriously, and they did certain aspects of the Avengers better than the solo movies that these guys appear in. For example, everyone's saying that Doctor Strange is done better in Avengers than he is in Doctor Strange. They are also saying that... Motherfucker. Okay, so Doctor Strange is done better in the Avengers than Doctor Strange. The same could be said for the Hulk, because the only Hulk movie we've gotten, and this is there's an asterisk with that one, with the Universal deal, is that the Hulk has been better in the Avengers movies and in Thor than he has been in his own movie, and they're kind of right on that one. I know one Instagram meme guy and general personality has been like a huge DC fan, but at the same time, like, he goes into paint for Incredible Hulk with Ed Norton. And I will say this, I watched Incredible Hulk after I saw Avengers Infinity War, and after what they did with the Hulk in that one, which, mind you, we're dealing with two movies here. We're dealing with part one. Part two is going to be titled something differently, and it's not going to be Infinity War Part 2, but I think they might be rethinking that, because they're either going to announce the title of the Avengers and maybe drop the trailer a year in advance, or they're going to drop... maybe not the trailer, they're going to drop the teaser trailer. They're going to drop the teaser trailer to Avengers Part 2. They could either call it Part 2, or they're going to change the name of it, because I think the movie made $800 million in the first week worldwide. And like 5 or 6 years ago, when the first Avatar came out, like, they were starting to talk about movies breaking $1 billion in their run again. So 5 or 6 years ago, wow. I think Avatar's, I want to say that was like 10 years ago, but anyway, so nah, it couldn't have been 10, at least 6 or 7 years ago, at least maybe even 8. Anyway, so I'm getting old, more on that later, but Avengers Part 2 is something I'm going to be thinking about real hard, and a lot of people are starting to think about Phase 4, even though Phase 3 isn't even complete. And like the guys at Comic Pop, or I shouldn't say Comic Pop in particular, but I think Sal and I'm trying to remember if it's Ethan or Joel. I want to say Joel. The guy from Canada, they were talking about how it's probably going to be a team-up movie phase, where it's going to be all team-ups. It's going to be whatever. And eventually, like, there's the added thing of Disney is starting up their own streaming service because they don't want to deal with Netflix. They want to make all the money themselves. So the question is, do they keep the stuff on Netflix? Because Netflix, I want to say, owns the seasons that they have currently. And does Disney go ahead and make new shows with the same characters? I don't even know how that would work, like on terms of contract, but at the same time, Disney is not stupid enough to not make money off of something. But like, what comes next in Phase 4? Do they give the Netflix characters their own movies? Because I'm not gonna lie, the dumber the character concept is, the more time they need to make it awesome. They got to ease them into it, and things that you think would work have been shown that they don't work, in terms of like the crazier something. Now, mind you, some of the characters I'm going to talk about, they got piss poor handling overall. I'm not saying that like they set out to make bad movies, but when you get like low returns on a movie, you're like, well, we're not going to give the sequel more money. Punisher, Ghost Rider, pretty much anything at Lionsgate. So I want to say that includes Daredevil and Elektra, but I know they were Fox. I'm talking about the Ben Affleck and Jennifer Garner ones. So they could very well have been awesome movies. And I'll say this about the Daredevil one. There's a director's cut that I haven't seen, but I know to be better, because everyone I talk to says it's a better movie and it's a better Daredevil story than what they've shown. So anyway, one guy I was talking to on, not talking to, it's like I commented on it, because if I comment on something, it's because it sets off something in my head where I just have to respond. It's just like, I don't even care if I get a response back or they notice it. I'm just saying it out loud because the idea is either that profound or that stupid. So the idea was all movies should be 90 minutes. And I'm like, bullshit. Like, that's consumerism, like, to the extreme. When they say every movie should be 90 minutes, it's like, no, that's like everything has to be in tens or whatever, like 10 commandments, like 10 things, 10 pins or whatever. Like, it's a nice round number that everyone can get behind. It's like, no, like, we're talking about art here. It is what it is supposed to be. Let's take it to the extreme. 90-minute movie, okay, is everything in theaters. What are you shaving out of The Dark Knight to bring it under 90 minutes? What are you shaving out of Avatar to bring it to 90 minutes? Even though Avatar probably could have been 90 minutes, they just have to cut a percentage off of each shot that James Cameron did, and they'd probably trim half an hour off of it. But Titanic, what are they trimming in Titanic to bring it under 90 minutes? And these are like the good ones. Now, what bad movie that was 90 minutes that shouldn't have been 90 minutes? Because how many horror movies were just long and drawn out and not as scary because the pacing is just a little bit slower than what it should be? Like, I think some movies, even though they hate the idea of it, feature length is 40 minutes and above. That's feature length. Anything less than 40 minutes, I believe, is a short. So they don't want to do an hour movie, because this is the consumerism part coming in. But there are some movies that are 90 minutes that should be shorter. They should not be 90 minutes. God damn. So, all right. this thing's going. I gotta tighten this thing up. So, all right. Reviews. I really hate that people judge a movie or anything, video game, book, based on what other people think before they have a chance to get figure things out for themselves. Now, mind you, you have to be able to trust people who have your opinion so that you can be prudent about your time. Like, everyone I know says War and Peace is a great novel. I have no interest whatsoever in reading War and Peace. It is too long. It's going to take me forever. Certain Russian writers, I don't know if it's like a Russian to English, or I don't even know what the original language is, but and it could very well have been a written in English first. I don't know, but there's something about the way certain books are translated that, like, no. So so why are you waiting for other people to tell you what you think? It's what you think that counts. So, like, I heard about a podcast called How Did This Get Made? And they review bad movies or movies that are just like fodder or whatever, and I'm listening to this to one of their more famous episodes, which was Sucker Punch, and like, just to be like full disclosure, I am a fan of the movie. I do like it, and the points that they were bringing up were valid in terms of like what was going on, but why am I listening to other people for their opinion on something that I know I like, and I was listening to it specifically to figure out their perspective, and their perspective, as I'm listening to it, is like, it's not wrong. Like, the movie is not hard to follow, but it's like sort of like the poor man's Inception, but it's also visually stunning, and just in terms of and plus, here's the other thing too. This is reviews for everything. This past week there was the White House Correspondence Dinner, which is like, that's gonna suck for as long as Trump is in office. I'm sorry, but that administration takes itself very seriously, and no one else does, except when they take it very seriously because they have to. And the amount of like ammunition each comedian would have every year is and plus, you can't do it right. It's a group of people that are like literally programmed not to laugh at anything, and they had Michelle Wolf do it this year, who is funny. She is funny. She is legitimately funny. However, this is where taste comes into it. Michelle Wolf like fired shots at everybody, and the ones that caught my attention were the reporters saying that Michelle Wolf attacked Sarah Huckabee Sanders unfairly in the jokes. Like, it was like, and they were praising Sanders for taking it, and this could be one of two things. One, Wolf wasn't as funny as she thought she was, and it was more. But here's the other problem with like Michelle Wolf, and like her voice is either funny to you or it's not. And if you find her voice annoying, you're not gonna laugh at her. Like, it could be the funniest goddamn thing on paper, but as soon as Michelle Wolf says it, you're not gonna laugh. And I'm not saying that Michelle Wolf isn't funny. I think she is. I think she's very funny. However, like, the way comedy works is it's a literal, like, pass-fail system. It's either funny to you or it's not. And according to everyone in the room, it wasn't funny. And there is no, like, I'll put it to you this way. Like, cops don't defend each other as much as comedians defend each other. I listen to a bunch of comedians' podcasts. Like, one in particular was like, you should never apologize for making a joke or whatever. It's whatever. But then they have like non-apologies as statements. And here's the other thing too. These news pundits, they are not equipped to deal with comedians on a one-to-one basis. Sean Hannity had George Carlin on one time, and George Carlin knew that he wasn't going to win playing by their rules, so he just went off script and made them turn him off so that they could salvage something. Because when they do those satellite interviews where it's like the one guy's in a room in front of a green screen, there's a delay, like, you automatically look stupid because there's a delay. They let you have the delay. We have the technology for there to be no delay, yet they still do it. Like, I have like a 0.1 second difference on Skype. These guys have a 30-second delay on satellite, so they're just staring at the thing, looking at the freaking camera, waiting for the question to be asked on their end. And so the home viewing audience think they look stupid when they can't answer like 3 or 4 questions in a row in a succinct manner. George Carlin, though, on Hannity, like, he just went off the books and just started railing, like, and saying everything that he was thinking, and then Hannity just said, cut the feed. So, but comedy is a pass-fail system, and I don't care what anyone says. It's not a majority rule. If you don't find something funny, it's not funny to you. It's as simple as that. Now, if everyone else finds it funny, then okay, like, it's up to each comedian on their own to figure out like, how successful a joke is, and it's up to their own, like, standards on whether they keep telling it or not. Like, I was listening to one comedian talk about a rape joke, and it's not a rape joke, it's a joke about like, well, basically it's an oral sex joke, like, after years of marriage, but it came off as rapey, so the comedian doesn't tell it anymore. Maybe in part because one person came up to him and was mad about it, but one of the, like, and here's the thing too about the Michelle Wolf thing. Women are funny about other women when it comes to funny. A lot of the reporters that I heard praising Sanders, and I'm not even talking, like, these aren't the far right reporters, like the cater, like, these are like the CNN, MSNBC reporters that were like, she did a good job of, like, keeping her cool. So on that end, comedy is, to me, comedy is pass-fail. Like, there's a lot of things that I don't find funny that everyone else finds hysterical. And here's the other thing about comedians too that goes unsaid. Comedians are a different breed of thinkers, because comedians see things differently. They just do. They train themselves to notice things. They train themselves to explore certain concepts, and they're looking for funny. And like I said, funny is like such a broad spectrum. And I will say this: like, the greatest written joke ever is "Who's on first?" Because I don't care what anyone says. It's one of those, anything that Abbott and Costello did, I don't even know if they did it themselves, but automatically awesome. So, like, I don't know if Abbott and Costello wrote Who's on First, or the fishing sketch, or like a lot of other things they did, but I don't know if they stole from anybody, or they stole from vaudeville, or they stole from, I don't know, some unnamed guy that no one's ever heard of in history. But funny is funny, and I'll go one step further. Good is good, and that is so subjective, so objective. So subjective, not objective. Like, because how many objectively good movies, like, I'm talking about, like, Academy Award winning cast, Academy Award winning production, awesome director, great release date, and all that. How many of those movies are just so boring as fuck? So yeah, reviews, like, people experience things for yourself. It's as simple as that. Alright, so I talked about Avengers, talked about reviews, talked about things. Getting older. Turned 30 this weekend. You know what? It's not even that I feel old. It's not that I know I'm getting older. Like, certain things just, like the one side of my head is turning gray. It's not like I haven't accomplished anything, but I don't know. Like, it's not like climbing a mountaintop, because it's just like thinking about. It's like you get to a new elevation and you all the goddamn days. Alright, so I'm at 23 minutes. I might as well just end it right here. Getting older, it doesn't suck. Don't ever let anyone tell you getting older sucks. It's just a matter of being honest about how much you like where you're at. I like where I'm at. Like, I'm on the road to things, and I'm on my way, and I don't regret much. I do have regrets. I'm not gonna list them here, but in terms of just being happy where I'm going and all that, I am. So, like, this is just me, like, getting to that new elevation and turning around and looking at where things were, where I was, and just having that content, and just, like, calm, and just, like, and then looking at where you're going, and looking up, and seeing what the path has in store for you, or your intended path, because let's face it, there's plenty of surprises that happen in life, and so far so good. So All right, goals. I'm gonna drink tequila because tomorrow's. I didn't even mention Cinco de Mayo. Like this weekend is Cinco de Mayo. It's the Kentucky Derby. Like I'm betting on horses. I am drinking tequila. I am drinking cerveza. I am going to enjoy myself this weekend. That's my goal. I'm living it up. I want to have a steak that is aged and cost me an arm and a leg. I want to have I don't know if I can afford it, but I think I might have a tequila that's as old as I am. I'm just going to enjoy myself. So, peace.